Let's talk about the Hall of Fame that took place last Saturday before WrestleMania. Now, the Hall of Fame used to take place on the Saturday before Mania, but last year WWE changed it, and this year they moved it back. And I guess that was because they didn't want TakeOver going head-to-head with the MSG show. The Hall of Fame is another part of the weekend that I very much enjoy. It's one of my favorite nights of the year, and I usually try to put all of the controversy aside. I try not to get too caught up in why is this person going in before that person type of debates when it comes to the Hall of Fame. Look, we all know the Hall of Fame is bullshit. We all know it's a bunch of WWE officials in a room deciding on names, and a lot of us are wondering where certain names are, but I'm usually patient enough where as long as it's not a too little too late scenario, like with Jim Neidhart or Vader or a lot of other people that pass away and aren't able to accept their induction before they die. Aside from those, as long as everybody's alive, I don't really care when they go in. So I very much want, guys like Rick Martel, to go in, but I might just have to wait on him. And there's a whole bunch of deceased wrestlers right now that need to go in, but I don't know if you can have an entire Hall of Fame class of all guys that have passed away, like Bam Bam Bigelow and Davey Boy Smith and Brian Pillman and guys like that. So there's just so many guys that we still need to get in there, but I'm trying not to let too much of that bother me and try to just enjoy the Hall of Fame for what it is. Not sure if I'm really a big fan of the new format. We did hear rumors that there was going to be a new format this year for the Hall of Fame. X-Pac alluded to that on a podcast a few weeks back, and there was some talk about WWE shortening things up. Apparently, Hillbilly Jim is the cause of all of this. This Hall of Fame was definitely more streamlined, and I don't know if I really liked the setup with the ring. It was very different. Now, in recent years, they basically just been setting up like a Raw or SmackDown set and have the inductions take place up on the stage there, and then everybody just kind of sits in front of it. And I thought that was kind of lazy. If it was up to me, here's what I'd do with the Hall of Fame. I'd keep it small. I would not do it in these big buildings. Go back to what you did in 2004. That was great. When Bobby Heenan went in and Jesse and Harley Race and that big class that they put in to make up for all the lost time in 2004, that's the way I would do the Hall of Fame. Or set it up the way they did the Slammy Awards in the 80s and the 90s, just in a little banquet hall with the wrestlers and the wrestlers' families and friends, and that's it. You can still have a larger arena. It doesn't have to be intimate like 100 people. You can have 500 people there. You can have 1,000 people there. But I don't think it needs to be in a big arena. And with the new setup that WWE is doing with this ring, it's set up like a TV event, but there's no guardrail around the ring. There's only 3 of the 4 sides have ring ropes around them. There's a podium in the middle of the ring where the speeches will take place. And everybody still dresses up and looks nice and everything, but now the audience is 360 degrees around the podium and the person talking. And I just didn't like the fact that people were behind the inductees. The New Day was hilariously on camera on the hard cam all night long, but they had to watch the Hall of Fame watching all of the inductors' backs. That had to be boring for them. So it's always hard to get used to new things. Maybe this will grow on me. I'm actually all for WWE changing up the Hall of Fame set because, like I said, I thought they were getting a little bit lazy with it. But I'm not sure if I really like this so much. As far as the speeches go, they definitely were shorter. Some people had inductors and some people didn't. The Hall of Fame opened up with the Honky Tonk Man. He had Jimmy Hart inducting him. The speech was okay. Again, it wasn't that long. I wasn't a huge Honky Tonk Man fan. Never really have been. He was very gracious and accepting in his speech. I don't know why he wore that dumbass jumpsuit out there. He would wear a suit the next night to WrestleMania during the Hall of Fame segment. But I think he should have maybe not worn the Elvis suit. He could still do the hair and everything. But I just didn't think the suit was necessary. He looked a little bit stupid, in my opinion. Brutus Beefcake was also another induction that was just kind of meh. Hulk Hogan did come out to induct Brutus. And Brutus was over back in the day, but I think his induction fell a little bit flat. He didn't get that much of a response from the audience. Told a couple of cute stories, but really nobody cared. So Honky and Brutus I could have completely done without. My heart warmed for Tori Wilson. I really liked her speech. Poor girl, lost her father just a couple of days ago. Al Wilson passed away. And she had to come out and do this induction and this Hall of Fame right after that. I think she died, or I think he died 2 days before the Hall of Fame, which is just horrible. Heart goes out to Tori, and we all love you. And she told a pretty gut-wrenching story from her middle school days when she was humiliated by a boy and how that really motivated her. And she had a lot of nice things to say. And, people debated whether or not she should go in and everything, but everybody liked Tori. She was a big part of the show. Like I said, she was on more pay-per-view posters than the Honky Tonk Man. I'm totally fine with her going in, and I thought she had a very lovely speech, and she looked amazing. Harlem Heat, very entertaining as well. Stevie Ray told some really good stories about how they got in, basically chronicled their whole career. And Booker T was hilarious like he always is. They had a really fun induction. And then there is the Hart Foundation. Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart going into the Hall of Fame. They did not have an inductor. They just had a video package. Bret Hart and Natalya came out to accept on the Hart Foundation's behalf. They played the old school original Hart Foundation music, which there ain't a bigger Bret Hart fan walking the face of this earth than yours truly. Solomonster might be able to challenge me, but I still think I have him beat. Bret was my guy, and so was the Hart Foundation, and I loved him even back when they were heels. And this was important to me personally as a wrestling fan. And honestly, I don't care who was up there. What we were about to see makes my blood boil to an extent that cannot even be described. Bret Hart is up there accepting the speech with Natty, and he's telling stories, and he's giving his speech when he is attacked, assaulted from behind by a complete bag of shit fan that dives in the ring and tackles Bret Hart. And I'm watching this live. The camera immediately goes dark. They immediately cut away from it in the truck. They then went to a shot of the audience. And the whole time I knew something was happening because you saw the fan. The camera cut away, but you still saw the fan grab a hold of Bret Hart. So while the camera is off of what's happening here, I'm losing my mind because I'm thinking, did he get stabbed? Did he get shot? What happened? I'm sure security ran in there and are breaking it up, but if that guy has a weapon, he definitely put his hands on Bret, and Bret Hart could be in some serious trouble here. So I had about 30 seconds of some pretty severe panicking because I didn't know what was happening. Finally, the cameras go back to the ring. Everybody is in the ring. I mean, you got wrestlers all over the place. The New Day, everybody around ringside, Ronda Rousey and Travis Brown were in the ring. Everybody was trying to, help out Bret, get him up. And, because it wasn't shown on camera, you go over to Twitter and now you start getting cell phone footage all over the place of the incident. The fan actually tackles Bret, takes him down. Bret Hart is a cancer survivor and a stroke survivor. And this stupid piece of inbred shit jumps in the ring and tackles him. And he got a few shots in of his own from some of the boys. And there was a lot of footage of guys really taking some shots on him. Dash Wilder caught him with a sweet-ass uppercut as they're dragging his dumb ass out of the building. Looked like the New Day were the first ones to hit the ring. I mean, nobody hesitated. Props and kudos to all the boys and girls. It wasn't just men jumping in that ring. Not one single person hesitated for a minute. Kofi Kingston, who's about to win the title in less than 24 hours and has his kids with him, was in that ring in seconds to protect Bret Hart. So was Travis Brown, who came to the defense of professional wrestling, a business that he's not even in. Thank you to him for being there as well. Thank you to Ronda Rousey. She was about to take her heels off and her earrings off and stick her foot up that guy's ass. So thank you to everybody that jumped in there and protected my favorite wrestler and protected the ceremony and protected Bret and Natalya. Natalya was in danger too. She was up there. So it was an extremely scary moment. And I don't know now if this is going to affect WWE's setup in Hall of Fames in the future, because with the old setup, that would not have happened. That fan would not have reached Bret Hart with the old setup. It's uncomfortable to me to have people behind them, and I'm just not sure if I'm a fan of it. I think security could have done a better job, but that fan had a clear path. There was no guardrail. He just had to run straight into the ring. So I don't care how much security you have there, you don't have time to react to that. Thank God he wasn't crazy. Thank God he wasn't armed. He could have stabbed Bret or done something serious to him. And that would have put a huge black mark on what is supposed to be a celebration of wrestling. So that was a scary moment. The Hall of Fame felt a little bit off and clunky and weird at times, and this didn't help. It was very uncomfortable. But like I said, props to everybody that jumped in there and helped Bret and defended Bret. Props to everybody that got their own live round in on that bag of fuck that jumped in the ring. I just wish they would have taken him to the back and had their way with him. I mean, if this would have been 1981 or something and this would have happened, I'm not sure if this guy's family would have been able to identify him in the hospital. That's how bad it would have been for him. He would have been taken out to the parking lot and beaten into the pavement. But now he's been arrested. He's being charged. I'm not even going to say the fucker's name and give him the publicity, but he is being charged with assault and a couple of other counts. So hopefully he does or gets some severe punishment here, does some jail time. I just hope he lives a miserable rest of his life. And there's a nice special place in hell for a douchebag of this caliber. And I wish you nothing but the worst in your life. I hope the worst luck that a human being can possibly fathom lands right on your face for the duration of your miserable life. Fuck you. But Bret Hart, because he's a fucking boss, picked himself right back up. He gathered himself and, like the pro that he is, continued with his speech. Now, Bret Hart was also using a teleprompter, and I don't know the details on this, but from what I could gather from what I observed, it looked to me like WWE included the teleprompter this year as an option because some people were using it, some people weren't. Bret Hart, it did feel like he was reading a little bit. It felt a little bit less genuine than his 2006 speech where he told a lot of stories. But I think that was because of WWE's format change. I think they told these guys to script what you're going to say. They don't want you to ramble too much. And they might have been putting some time limits on this. So Bret, I believe, wrote every word that he said, but he was using the teleprompter to read them so he didn't maybe tell too many stories or trail off or get off topic or anything like that. All those things that you can do. But Bret Hart still had a great speech. He said a lot of nice things. I always enjoy Bret's little quotes and like little things like that. I always take away little quotes from Bret. I don't know why. I don't know where he reads them or where he finds them, but they always inspire me because I'm a Bret Hart guy. But I thought he did very well rebounding from the attack. And he finished up his speech and wrapped up his speech very well. They played a video of Jim the Anvil Neidhart on the screen, and it was great. I will also say that I did enjoy D-Generation X's Hall of Fame speech more than I thought I would. I thought the shit they did with Vince McMahon was so fucking funny. That was great. They trolled the hell out of him. I'm certain that he didn't know about that. If anybody has the stroke to be able to rib Vince like that, it's Triple H. And we have heard the stories how Vince does not want his name mentioned at the Hall of Fame. And I would like to get a Vince count on DX's speech, and I would like to see how many times his name was said. It had to have been 50 times. Hilarious. How about the two All Elite Wrestling references by Triple H to Billy Gunn? At one point when they were talking about people getting fired, he told Billy Gunn that WWE would buy that pissant company. Pissant company. Interesting choice of words. They would buy that company just so they could fire Billy again, which was funny. And then later on, I actually can't remember if it was Triple H or Shawn, somebody mentioned the words all in. So that was pretty cool coming from the head of WWE, Triple H, acknowledging competition that now exists with All Elite Wrestling. I like that a lot. And Billy Gunn, of course, has a job over there, and here he is being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Every single member of DX got a chance to speak, and every member of DX got a chance to talk about China, including Triple H. They all said very nice words about her. Chyna's family was there. I know her sister was there, potentially her mother as well. Triple H addressed her personally and looked right at Joni's sister. X-Pac really struggled through his speech. It seemed like he was very nervous and very emotional, and he was struggling with the Chyna stuff as well. He was even making fun of himself that he was having trouble holding it together. Their speech did go very long, but then again, there's 5 of them. So, you got to give them their time to say stuff here. Overall, was really entertaining speech. Might have gone a little bit too long. The super soaker water guns at the end was all, fun loving and a throwback to what they used to do, but I could have done without that. But still, overall, I give the speech a thumbs up. It was entertaining. It was nice to see. And it was an interesting class. I mean, we had Bret Hart in the same class with D-Generation X, Bret and Shawn becoming 2-time Hall of Famers together. We also had Rockabilly and Honky Tonk Man on the same stage, which is an absolute trip. So there was a few interesting tidbits about this Hall of Fame, but kind of a weaker class, I would have to admit, even though my favorite tag team of all time did go in. And like I said, not a fan of the setup, and the fan attack on Bret Hart was really scary and almost put a damper on the whole event. But hopefully next year things will get back to normal, and we can have a much less stressful Hall of Fame ceremony in 2020.